Okay, we've got a special heritage treat for you this afternoon here at 5 Points School down in Jackson Township
Wells County.
in Wells County with Jack Pace, who's an expert on the history of the school.
Not Jackson Township, but Chester Township.
Oh, Chester Township, I'm sorry.
Yeah, one mile down would be your Jackson Township.
Okay. Did students come from Jackson Township to this as well, or they had the other school they went to?
It'd be a mile all directions.
Uh-huh.
It could have been some of the kids from Jackson Township, yes.
Okay. So this is the big school building. You were saying it's a two-story place to accommodate the farmers.
Farmers Grange Hall upstairs.
Uh-huh.
And it was built in 1876 to accommodate not only the school, but the Grange Hall upstairs.
Uh-huh.
As you can see up there, there's a 1876 stone.
Uh-huh.
And the schoolhouse is setting on 2.5 acres off of 2 different farms.
Uh-huh.
And then in later years, they became the Horse Thief Detective Association, lodge number 239. Back to the Grange, that was called Grange Hall 522. Let's go in and
Yep.
take a peek.
Okay, we're now inside 5 Points School.
Well, we started working on the building in about 1997. Complete disaster, and we rebuilt the whole downstairs. It's all done. Upstairs still needs a lot of attention yet.
It's fairly typical of the one-room school houses.
Very typical. We had a lot of things to go by. For instance, just like where the coat racks is at, even though they appeared to be kind of high in the air, but that's where our forefathers had them at. We took pictures of all this and recorded it all, and then things that had to be replaced is all back to like we found it. Just in a lot of the details is back. Like the mop boards is original height. All the window trim is all original. The blackboard was missing, but the outer part of the frame was there, and so we rebuilt that all back and put the old blackboard back in there. We know it had the potbelly stove by one of the members that is deceased now, and he said that's where it's set, right in the middle of the floor. So that went back with that thought in mind. That's the old school desk we gathered for several years.
I recognise the inkwells in the school desk. We even had these back in New Zealand, so... Whoop.
Well, then you see here, Frank, the so-called first grade, or the little kids, there was no inkwells.
Uh-huh.
Because I suppose being little kids, they didn't put the inkwells in there. You know? But that's kind of oddity. A lot of people don't realize that. But the inkwells was in all the bigger classes, which served from the first grade through the 8th grade.
Okay.
That's what your schools had, first grade through 8th grade. Wasn't no kindergarten, wasn't no 9th grade here. Actually, the teacher's desk. That teacher's desk actually came from Chester School. That ended up over in the Chester Fire Department. And then when they built new, we got the desk. So when this school closed, the kids went to Chester High School or Chester School. So that desk came from that Chester School. So that's a little bit of local history in itself.
The teacher's bell is on the desk, and
Teacher's bell.
the old desks.
This bell here was donated, and we had all recorded down. It's original bell. This is just a little cheap bell that we had. We need to get it out of here. This is something interesting that come to us from a person. This is a blowed up copy of the Articles of Incorporation of the Horse Thief Detective Association from 1917. And then here's a smaller copy when it gets blowed up. This is a handwritten copy from the Grange Hall upstairs from 1976. So there's, and like I said, Frank, the president, the master was James Gooden, and that's the Gooden farm.
Okay.
So Mr. Gooden was the president of the Grange, And if you go forward, when you talk about the horse thief, here's the Gooden name comes again, another generation, but the Gooden people was still there, so the Gooden name goes on.
That's the farm directly to the east.
So, but there's the original article of incorporation of the Grange Hall.
Cool.
So, and then also off-site we have a badge and the original minutes to the Horse Thief Detective Association. We have the pay ledger from this Grange Hall from 1876, where the people paid their dues. We have that off-site in a safe, and so we do have some recorded history of the building itself.
What?
In later years, Frank, the school sat empty forever, and it was become a farm barn. Picture over in this corner here, Frank, was farrowing pens. They had hogs in here. They raised hogs in here.
Oh man.
And when the hogs got so big, they took them around the back, and there was a building they built onto the back of the school, and that's where they raised the hogs out.
Okay.
They fed out the hogs in the back, so it really became a hog barn. Now that before we took it over, but you know the smell was going, but I mean the place was just tore all to pieces. It was just junk, and had a lot of leaks curved through it into the sky. You could just see into the heavens. Frank, if you walk back here to the back, you'll see some pictures.
Yeah.
I don't know a good angle on that, but it's like this is the upstairs. That's the sunlight coming through the roof. This is the downstairs. This is the downstairs. So Frank, you're looking at the area right in there.
Okay.
And you can see that the ceiling was all busted down. It just leaked for years. Here's an inside picture, which have been over in that corner, Frank.
Okay.
And we've already cleaned it out inside. And as you can see here, all the flooring it was all rotted all the way through. We had to take all the flooring out. It just rained. There's the roof. You could just look up into the heavens. So the water just poured through the building.
Oh man, that was a shame. But you've done it up real nicely.
We have totally saved it. Yep.
Well, you got Santa coming.
Well, at Christmas time, we have a guy comes out. Him and his wife plays Santa Claus, Mrs. Claus. You see here like just some pictures at random. Here's some people in here and kids, which school kids come out here and see the place and use it. Here's the Red Hatters. There's some Red Hatters has been out here. It's just been just different kinds of things go on. Every fall we have a fundraiser called a farm a fall festival. And as you look out there now, you see a pavilion.
Yeah.
So we kind of got away from renting a tent for, several $100s every year. So we built a pavilion to accommodate that event. That's our main fundraiser for the year. Well, that's probably no big deal because this has only been about 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. Actually, it shows the outhouse white. We've since recited those. This is we made all new, but they had a woodshed there, and we decided to make the woodshed a little bigger for storage. But they had a woodshed sitting there, and see that's an aerial view of the place. There's a hand dug well that we built from the ground back up. All the original underground is still there. Hand dug well, and then in later years, I suppose this gave out, and they put a well pump over here, which is still there.
Okay. Cool. Man, yeah, you've done a great job restoring it. I have to say that. Considering.
Well, we try to stay with the original thought, and like the I say, in that time frame, Frank, you always had a picture of George Washington on one side, you had a picture of Abraham Lincoln on the other side, but you always had your American flag. That was always part of the state rule. We call it a teacher's supply cabinet, Frank, but in behind there, we've hid all our control panels for all our electrical stuff. And if you look here, Frank, you'll see the lights even.
Okay.
And you see all the electrical stuff is all hidden. All the electrical is buried in the wall in metal conduit, so everything electrically is hidden. Now we have lights in the ceiling, so we can use it at night, but everything is kind of hidden, so they don't take away from the old look. And then you say with the teacher supply cabinet, we hid all of that, and let me turn those lights back off, right? I'm thinking about it. Bookcase like they had, we built this up, but like I said, we decided to make a teacher supply cabinet on top to hide that electrical panel. Now, Frank, I mentioned this to you about that being the Gooden Farm. Okay, it's Gooden Farm from the President of the United States. It went to the Gooden people, and it stayed in their name until Mr. Gilbert bought it in 1972. So it's always been in the Gooden family, clear back since the United States deeded it off to the Gooden people. And one of those people ended up living in Bluffton. I mean, one of those generations ended up living in Bluffton, and their daughter was Peggy Gooden. Peggy Gooden was an author.
Oh.
Peggy Gooden is the author of a famous book. If I always say, if you talk to your elderly ladies, they'll remember the book. I always say it's a girl's book. I mean, but the Clementine was by Peggy Gooden, and Peggy Gooden.
It's a photo.
That was her people right over here.
Okay.
And I think in the reading, I never read this, but I think in the reading she talks about the farm or whatever have you. Otherwise, she indicates this place. I mean, but this is the first edition. No big deal in that part. My wife has. I think she wrote 4 or 5 books. My wife has 3 of them signed by her.
Oh, okay.
But it's something for an odd piece of history out here in the country. Not only this school, and I just said the Gooden, and the Gooden name with the Grange and everything. I'm repeating myself here, but also Peggy Gooden was a known author in her day. This is like early 40s. Like the early 40s. Lot of crazy history.